Hey everyone, it's Miella and welcome back to my channel. This week I really wanted to talk about how to become a stronger songwriter. I have another video for the beginners who have never written a song before, and it's just a very simple and basic strategy to just get started. This is for your future. Come back to me. Or you could watch this and come out of the gate really strong and you're writing songs that are like, poof! For all the songwriters out there who are either in like a mental block or they're just feeling really uninspired or they want to take their songwriting to the next level, this video is for you. I feel like if I'm going to be giving some songwriting advice, I should probably talk about how I got started and where I am today. And even though I've had some success that I'm extremely proud of, and I know that some people will never get a chance to experience the success that I have experienced, I am still on my journey and I'm still trying to just make this a part of my life for the rest of my life. Music is such a huge part of who I am and something that I decided to do at a very young age. And I haven't stopped. No matter what I'm doing in my life, my music will always be a part of my life because I love it that much. It is my passion. That is what you do when you are a musician. So when I first started writing songs, I remember being in elementary school. I was really into like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Christina Aguilera, and Britney Spears. And Pink, of course, Pink. I used to write poems and I would just like hum songs and just make it up. It had no structure. It was literally just words on a piece of paper, probably talking about a crush that I had at that moment. When I got a little older, I started vocal lessons and my vocal teacher was like, you need to learn an instrument. Fast forward, I'm about 16. I pick up the guitar, and of course I'm like the type of person that it's like, I just figured it out myself. I used to study ultimateguitar.com and I started playing just basic chords because that's all I really cared about. I didn't want to be anyone that was like playing solos or whatever. I wanted to learn the guitar to just complement my voice, so I just learned open chords. I started just to write, and I would always start with melodies. To this day, melodies come to me first. It's just something that I'm really drawn to when I'm listening to songs, and it's to me like the most important part, because if your melodies aren't catchy and they don't stick with the listener, then your song is probably not going to keep the listener around for very long. I'll never forget, I was in high school and I got in a fight with like one of my friends, and I wrote a song about how upset I was and how much like she used to hurt my feelings because she would like put me down in front of other people. To honestly, like, I think I'm not gonna like go there, but like I'll just let you know. I wrote a song about how hurt I was. And then I invited all of my friends and family to an open mic, and then I performed that song. And let's just say my friend at that time was definitely like, was that about me? I was like, It was about you. Bloop. So I used to write songs about experiences. I also wrote a song about my first breakup, and I like performed it at a like family event. And it was like so blunt and very forward. I've always been that style of songwriter. I used to listen to Jewel and Alanis Morissette, and I literally wanted to be the next Alanis Morissette. So her songs are very like in your face, descriptive and cool, but in your face. That's kind of how I started writing songs. I was just very blunt, very honest. I was very vulnerable, and I would just like pour my heart out. That's where I started as a songwriter. Fast forward, Rico and I got together. I was in college, he was in college, and then we were both in California at the same time, then moved home. And we started doing house music together because he one day asked me to sing on his songs, and then that he was producing, and then we just started writing songs together. Once Rico and Miella started, I also learned a lot from Rico, which if he were here, I'd pat him on the back. He is a lyrical genius. He just comes up with really cool shit. when Rico and Miella started and you start putting music out there and your fans really like it, your bar gets higher and higher and higher and higher. So for me, when I would write songs about like la-di-da-di-da, I was like, wow, I actually have to take those lyrics and make them better. And my melodies have to be better. And every time I was writing, I was like, this never feels good enough, because once you get out there and you're like seen, it becomes very scary, because like you have to stay on your game. If you've been out there and your music is here and then you release another song and it's like here, your fans are gonna be like, what the? So you have to constantly hold yourself to a higher standard. My background, now let's get to the video. Open writing and journaling is such an important step to songwriting. It is the moment where you clear your brain, get everything out that's like on your chest or anything weighing heavy on you, dump it on a piece of paper, and then guess what? When you're stuck on the process, you go back, reread that stuff, and sometimes the lyrics are just there and you didn't even try because they just like subconsciously came to you. It's also just like a very therapeutic moment where you can just like journal. You should be journaling every day, especially if you're a songwriter. You should just journal to keep those writing juices flowing, you know what I'm saying? Be descriptive with imagery, a topic, an emotion, an experience, a childhood memory, whatever you're writing about. Don't just tell it exactly how it is. Every time you write, ask yourself, could I make that line better? How can I say the same thing but in a cooler way? For example, I miss you. Instead of saying, I miss you, you can say, every time your face pops into my head, my chest sinks, my stomach turns. I'm curled up in my bed and I can't get up to even get a drink of water even though I'm so thirsty. I mean, that like took a turn really quickly, but that's what I'm talking about. Take something so simple and make it really, really dramatic. I'm a dramatic person, so that's like kind of easy for me. For example, about taking that experience, I want you to take yourself and put yourself in that room. So say we're talking about like a childhood traumatic experience, like your parents getting divorced. Put yourself in that room of like the moment you found out that they were getting divorced. Were the lights on? Was there a song playing in the background? Like, were you warm? Were you cold? Talk about the room. Talk about like the car door slamming when your dad left, or talk about your mom crying on the steps when she decided that she's had enough. Like, be descriptive, tell the story, but in a very deep way. Your imagery aspect is going to separate your song from the other songs that are all out there. Songwriting structures. I really feel like this deserves its own video, and I'm sure there's thousands of videos already out there about different songwriting structures that you could work with, but my point for bringing this up is it's really important to know what your song needs. There are no rules in music, but there's definitely a reason why some songs make it and other songs don't, and song structure is super important. I always strive to write as much as I can, and then you can like trim the fat at a later point. If you are on the path where you're like in like the final part of the song and you're like, wow, why do I have a bridge there? It's so not necessary. The hook is enough. Or like try starting your song with the hook instead of just coming right in with the verse. In song structures, like I said, there's really no rules in music. Try to follow it a little bit, because there's a reason like why people all follow the same songwriting structures, because there's a thing that some people are really drawn to. And if you're making really cool, like experimental music, like take those risks and do what you want. And I'm sure you'll have fans who are really into that music. There's more freedom, and that's why it's called experimental, because you're experimenting. But for the standard pop song, you really should follow a pop structure. Songwriting with other songwriters. You might not have songwriters in your current location, but there are so many people out there that are dying to write with you. If you put yourself out there, I'm sure you'll find songwriters that you could share your music with. And when you are writing with other songwriters, it really forces you to like step it up. You're not gonna sit in a room scrolling on your phone. You probably shouldn't be in the songwriting session if you're not gonna write at all. When you are in a songwriting session, there's like a pressure there where you just want to like bring something to the table. Don't write with people who bring nothing to the table. Let me just say that right off the bat. Do not put yourself in a situation where you are carrying all the weight. Like, don't get me wrong, there's people that like have some dry days and like nothing's coming to your head. That's okay. I'm talking about people that just sit there and they're like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I don't like that, but that's cool. It could be very frustrating for the other person who's constantly throwing ideas at the wall. When you are writing with other people, don't be afraid to just spit out ideas. Whether your ideas are garbage or they're amazing and they choose every single one, just take those risks. It really makes you step outside of your comfort zone, and you will learn a little bit from them. They will learn a little bit from you. And when two heads are always better than one. So take the chance, reach out to other musicians that are local to you or even people online and try to collaborate. I think it's a beautiful thing, and music totally brings people together, so don't be afraid of that. Last thing I just want to talk about is be extremely critical. If you are writing songs and you think every single song that you've written is like God's gift and you should just be famous because you are perfect, no one is perfect, and everyone could learn a thing or two from somebody else. Ask yourself, can I make this better? Can I change this line to make the story make more sense? Can I change the melody slightly so it shows a prettier register in my voice? Like, whatever you have, I'm sure it's great, but most of the time it could be better. Write as much as you possibly can. Do not stop. It is like a muscle. You have to constantly exercise it, or else you will run into a writer's block. And I could totally make a video on that because it's something that every single person that writes songs will go through at some point in time. You got this. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was helpful. If you would like to reach out to me about some songwriting advice, if you have a song that's in the works and you want me to help you, definitely reach out to me. I would love to listen to your music. Don't forget to subscribe, and I cannot wait to see you guys next week.